Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. I am Chris Phillips. He is Cole the Bear Thompson. Let us be the first to wish you a very happy game day. It's officially here. We made it. SEC football game day is upon us, and we have got a ton to discuss, a ton to get into because it is Thursday. What do we do on Thursdays during the college football season, Bear? We lock in picks. That's exactly what we're doing. Our week one SEC pick'em, all 16 games of week one. We've also got other news and notes to get into, some injury stuff to discuss. Also, I'm finally locking in my Heisman pick. Again, we got a lot to get into, guys. Again, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in and being along with us for the ride. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. It is Thursday, August the 28th, 2025. And most importantly of all, it is game day. SEC football is back. The Missouri Tigers will get things going tonight as they take the field against Central Arkansas. If you need any more reason to be fired up than that, then you simply don't have a pulse. And oh, by the way, there's 17 college football games on the docket tonight. Don't call me. I will not answer. Don't text me. I will not respond. Unless you're one of the homies and we're talking about football, then you can reach out. But anyone else, leave me alone. I'm glued to my screen tonight. I'm dialed in. I'm locked in. And right now I'm locked in with Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. We finally made it, my friend. We have been counting down literally at SEC Unfiltered for 100 days. We do that countdown every morning. And Bear, this was the first morning I woke up, and guess what? I didn't have a video to post because we're at zero. We're at zero. We made it. There's no more counting down. We're finally here.
I woke up and I felt a pulse throughout my body that was just cascading through. And it wasn't the caffeine from the night before. It certainly wasn't the indulgence of how much food I decided to eat last night. I was cooking, so you know what? I wanted to have a little bit extra for me. It was just a shock to the body, right in the good parts that you know as well as I do, that if you feel that in your bones, you got to get up and get to work. And that was because we have college football back on our screens. I don't care that it is Central Missouri versus Arkansas, because you know what? I also got Boise State, South Florida. I got Rutgers, Ohio. I got Lafayette and Bowling Green, NC State, East Carolina, UCF, Jacksonville State, Delaware, some team from Delaware, St. Francis, UL Monroe, Wyoming, Akron, Central Arkansas, Missouri, Elon, Duke, UT Martin, Oklahoma State, Buffalo, Minnesota, Stephen F. Austin, Houston, Alabama State versus UAB, Cincinnati versus Nebraska, and of course, Wisconsin versus Miami of Ohio. Chris, I got games on games on games. I got storylines galore. I get to go ahead and overreact to certain teams. I get to underreact to certain teams. I get to look back at my early predictions from well back in 2024 and say, this team looks like crap. This team looks better than advertised. And we get to finally end the talking season and get to the game on the field. Put the ball down, 60 minutes of nonstop action. No more of this what could happen. Now it's just to figure out what will happen. Let's freaking go. College football back. Life as we know it is restored.
Bear, I've lived in Central Time for about 3 months now. Today is the first day where I think it's really hitting me about how awesome it is. Because South Florida and Boise State get us going on this here afternoon. That game kicks off at 4:30 Central Time.
Yep.
I was like, holy shit. I don't have to wait as long as some others, my brethren on the East Coast. So that fires me up. I'm pretty excited. I don't think I've ever had a weekday 4:30 game to watch. So certainly I am pumped. Of course, the one, and it's so funny, Bear, I've seen people on social media, obviously rival fans, talking about who's really going to be watching the Missouri and Central Arkansas game. My response, friend, I am going to be glued to my TV watching that game like it is the damn Super Bowl. And I'm proud to say it. Damn it. I'm proud.
Brother, it is not just that game. You think that that's going to be a game? That's going to be on my phone. Like that game's just going to be single box on my phone because of I care about my Mizzou.
Bear, we got
better.
Bo Prabula in the first half, Sam Horn in the second half to watch. I mean,
we got Bo Prabula on the first drive getting a touchdown. We got Sam Horn on the second drive getting a touchdown. We got Ahmad Hardy on the third drive getting a touchdown. And then basically it's like that scene in Looney Tunes where whoever is the pitcher is going up against like a fake Babe Ruth, and it's bang, score. And it's going to be like 76-0 as Central Arkansas has to wave the white flag of defeat. But you also got NC State versus East Carolina. Most people on this channel know me.
Hey, bowl game. ECU beat them in the bowl game, too.
I am a closeted NC State fan for no apparent reason other than I like the Wolfpack, and I think that Dave Duran's a fun coach. I got Boise State versus USF. I'm very excited to go watch Rutgers versus Ohio for some reason. I don't understand why. Don't ask me. It just is a thing. Stephen F. Austin versus Houston, my city. Connor Wigman era gets to start on off in H-Town against a really good FCS team. You also got a game against Minnesota Buffalo. Don't sleep on the Bulls. I'm telling you, you and I both know Pete Lambeau. Lambeau's going to do something pretty successful, I think, out in Buffalo this year. They're a MAC contender. So we got all these games, and you're like, well, you got baseball on TV. You shut your mouth. This is no longer baseball season. Oh, well, you could talk about something with the NFL. You shut your mouth. That starts next Thursday, not this Thursday. This Thursday night is meant for one thing and one thing only. The good game that the Lord gave us for Saturdays meant 2 days early because if he wanted to bless us with a good Labor Day weekend. So you do not need to text me. You do not need to call me. You do not need to be in my vicinity or proximity in phone distance if you don't care about the small games. Because I tell you what, I care about Central Arkansas the exact same way I care about Ohio State in this conference. I care about watching Long Island the exact same way I care about Clemson in this conference. I want every single game to live up to the hype.
And you mentioned, too, the two games that are kind of bookending us, Bear. I mean, starting off with that Boise, South Florida. You also got Nebraska-Cincy late, which I think is going to be a really, really fun game at the Chiefs Stadium. Again, of course, the one we're going to be really excited about. We're excited for all of them, but Mizzou, Central Arkansas, Bear, I will say this because you've taken the over in that game. Now that I think about it, Bo Prabula first half, Sam Horn second half, I'm almost kind of wanting to throw a little bet on Missouri to cover because both quarterbacks are going to go out. It's a tryout for them. Like they're not going to take the foot off the gas pedal in the second half. Like how unfair would it be to Sam Horn, even if they're up like 42-0 at halftime? If I'm Sam Horn,
oh no, like, slow down.
Yeah, I'm like, this is my opportunity to go win the job. I got to go throw it around, coach. We're not going to run the ball every play. So I think they're going to sling it throughout the game. So again, that's a little bit of a side. I might have to jump on that with you.
Did you ever watch Friday Night Lights?
Here and there. I didn't like. I wasn't like a. I need to get on that, honestly. I wasn't like a Friday Night Lights diehard.
Michael B. Jordan, before he became one of the greatest actors of our generation, was in the show as Vince Howard. And there's a scene where Vince Howard's dad is telling him, "We got scouts in the building. You're up by 40. Let it fly, son. Show off to these scouts who you are." And it's like, you're up by 40. You're going to win this game. It's one unforgettable play. Nobody's going to care if you win by 52 or not at this point. And Vince is like, no, I'm going to throw it. I'm going to let it fly. And you see Coach on the sideline, Coach Taylor's pissed as shit. He's upset that you ran up the score against a team that's not who we are as a program. And it's like, that is going to be Sam Horn in the second half. You're going to have Eli Drinkowitz in his ear. All right, let's run right. Hell no, I'm not running right. I've let this thing fly down the field for a 70-yard score. You think that I want to sit on the sidelines in the border war next week? Hell no, I'm going to give you a reason why you got to play me. So that over is going to crush, I think, by the time we get to the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, going to be a lot of fun to watch those two guys. Bear, that being said, let's go ahead and get into it again. Of course, every single Thursday, this is what you can expect. We are going to lock in our picks for the weekend. By the way, guys, Overtime Drive normally is going to come to you on Thursday nights, 8 o'clock Central, our normal start time for the show. But obviously, because our friends up in Como have a game tonight, we wanted to make sure we got it out there early, hence the noon Central start time. And who doesn't love going a little bit earlier, right? Kick off the weekend, kick off your Labor Day weekend, kick off your weekend of football with us. But just so you know, programming notes, again, we'll keep you guys in the loop. But either way, every single Thursday, this is what we're going to do, our Pick'em show, locking in all of our picks. So, Bear, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Boom! Our week 1 SEC pick'em. Shout out to our guy Eric Reese. Reese created, by the way. That makes us look really, really cool each and every single week. So happy to have Eric back on board for this season and beyond. He does a fantastic job with these graphics. Did a fantastic job yet again. So, Bear, let's run through. We got 16 games, as you and I both know, because we broke down, previewed, predicted every single one of them. Yes, from Texas, Ohio State, and LSU Clemson, all the way to Florida, Long Island, and Vanderbilt, Charleston Southern. So if you want a preview and prediction of every single game we're going to talk about, a more in-depth analysis, kind of how we got to and the why we got to the picks that we did, I highly encourage you to go check out all of those videos. Myself, Bear Thompson, us together, we did a great job with those. Really proud of the work we've done. And we're going to do that every single week, Bear. And I'd also challenge you, not throwing shots. I don't know if any other entities out there are breaking down Florida, Long Island, and Vandy, Charleston Southern. But you know what? Damn it, we are. We're either psychos or sickos or both. I don't know. But either way, we're doing it. So that being said, Bear, let's run through these. First game, obviously tonight, Missouri, Central Arkansas. Obviously for some of these, we're not going to spend a ton of time. You and I both going Mizzou. Most compelling storyline, obviously, Bear. Bo Prabula first half, Sam Horn second half. Really excited to watch both these quarterbacks. I don't know how many conclusions we're going to be able to draw because Mizzou is going to have their way. I mean, you're excited to see all the new pieces. Ahmad Hardy at running back, year 2 of Corey Batoon at DC. Mizzou's going to win. They're going to win big. I mean, I think all eyes are going to be on quarterback, but you and I both obviously going with the Missouri Tigers here.
35.5 points is the spread over at FanDuel. I think that hits by the time we get to halftime with just Bo Prabula playing quarterback. I don't think enough people realize how talented of a running back Ahmad Hardy is. I don't think you realize how good of a wide receiver 1 Kevin Coleman is. And I feel like that this defense, once again, you've talked about it. I've talked about it. They didn't miss a beat last year when Corey Batoon came on in, gets a massive pay grade. They did a good job of backportaling in talent. I think this is a good stepping stone in the right direction before you go face off against Kansas in the border war. I'm taking the over in points. I'm taking the over at 35.5. I think that you are going to see both quarterbacks that make Eli Drinkwitz kind of twist the knife a little bit more going into next week on what the fan base can expect between these two, because I think that both are going to shine. But I think that easily we're getting Missouri to win this football game.
Yeah, certainly want to build big-time momentum going into that border war. Mizzou and Kansas week 2 going to be pure cinema. Let's go to the Friday night game, Bear. This one really, really compelling. Again, guys, highly encourage you go check out the preview and predictions that we did because this one was a lot of fun. The Auburn Tigers and the Baylor Bears, Friday night in Waco. Bear, I am going Auburn, probably against my better judgment. I'm betting on Auburn, certainly against my better judgment. But I'm going with War Eagle. You are going with Baylor. What made you take Baylor in this one?
This was pretty simple for me. I don't trust Hugh Freeze. I need to see it. You know, you can sell me on the idea of what has been a phenomenal offseason in the portal, what has been a phenomenal offseason in terms of the production and how much money they spend in NIL and the development of talent with top 10 recruiting classes back-to-back years. And I've constantly heard it. But it's like, I can't continue to hear about what what Auburn's doing. I got to see it. I will give credit where credit's due. I think Auburn has the most underappreciated line in college football, both offensively and defensively. I think they're going to have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country. And I do think that Jackson Arnold, we are kind of giving him the slight doubt because of what we saw last year, which isn't fair because it's a new offensive personnel. But if you're giving me just the matchup on 2 main elements, number 1, the turnover ratio. This was not a bad team last year for Auburn offensively. They just were a turnover-prone team, 113th in the country. Baylor was 35th. They returned their starting quarterback. The same play caller that led to 113th in turnovers last year is still the same play caller on the Plains, Eileen Baylor. And ultimately, I think that if you give me an opportunity to trust one coach to fix the faults from the offseason, Hugh Freeze offensively, Dave Aranda defensively, I put my faith in Dave Aranda. I think Baylor's going to be a team that competes for the Big 12 title. I think Baylor's going to be a team that finds their way into the college football playoff conversation. I think Auburn at best is an 8-4 roster. Not saying that's a bad season, but for number 1, you to get to 8-4, I think you're going to need a win over Baylor and Waco. But also, it's a Friday night game. Weird stuff happens out in Waco. We all know this. Literally go look up 1994. You can go ahead and figure that story out yourself. But again, it's blackout on the Brazos. You don't lose in black. And I don't think you're going to lose with a guy in Robert Griffin III, who, whether or not we agree that he should be there, he's calling the game. I don't think you're going to lose that game.
Yeah, RG3 on the call is interesting. I'll say this from the Vegas perspective, this game's so interesting because Auburn was favored. Then it swung to Baylor. Now it swung back to Auburn. And I'm like, it's so interesting that Auburn is a road favorite in this one because it feels, I think to just the naked eye, it feels so obvious. Like, of course you take the home dog, but it's like, I don't know, like what is Vegas trying to tell me? I don't know. They are so good and they're painfully good. Although in week one, you could say is the time to get them. It feels like a darkest before the dawn thing. I don't know, man. I have a hard time even reasoning why I'm going Auburn, but I do love the talent. I love the roster. I think War Eagle finds a way. I don't know. I don't have a great explanation for you people out there. I just think Auburn finds a way. So
it's a 2.5 point line. So either
who knows?
They're going to barely beat the odds or they're going to lose.
It's going to be a weird game. It's going to be a wacky game for sure. Bear, let's go to Mississippi State at Southern Miss. Very interesting road trip to Hattiesburg. You and I both going Mississippi State. You and I both have some concern for this game. Is that fair to say? I know that I do. Is that fair to say for you?
It's not Southern Miss of old. Like, yeah, Southern Miss last year, 1-11. Let me make this clear. Southern Miss decided to pretend that they were going to be a bad football team last year because of now it's just Marshall masquerading as Southern Miss. They're wearing a costume. It's the same team that last year won the Sun Belt title. So when you go back and you're looking at film, you're not watching film of Southern Miss. You're watching film of Marshall. And the Marshall team last season went 10-3. They won the Sun Belt. They have the returning quarterback. They have both of their star receivers. They have multiple players defensively all back. And they have a coach in Charles Huff that is very well respected at the G5 level. So it's like, that's the concerning part. Also, I just don't know what I'm going to get in this defense. Like, if you watch a Southern Miss jumps out to a 17-0 lead because it's just so inconsistent in the back end of the secondary, Coleman Hustler has got to be fired at halftime. Like, we got to see Avonte Davis, I'm retiring, not coming back out, because you can't survive that. And if you lose this game, dude, all bets are off for Jeff Lebby after this year. But I just feel more confident that you are going to be successful with Blake Shapen running this offense. I like the rushing attack. Fluff Bothwell was one of my favorite additions of the entire offseason. And your defense can't be worse than it was last year, right?
I would certainly hope not. I obviously, again, we're both going Mississippi State. Tricky game in Hattiesburg. Come on. Mississippi State. We're not that down bad, are we? I don't think so, at least. Prove me wrong. Prove us all that we're right here, I should say. Tennessee, Syracuse Bear getting into the game in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz. You and I both going Tennessee. Our friend Blaine Crane from Crane & Company joined the show and say, hey, little warning if you're going to put all your money, all your eggs in the Tennessee basket. Fran Brown, still a really good coach. But Bear, Syracuse lost a ton. I trust Tennessee's defense in this football game. If nothing else, even if you get off to a slow start offensively with Joey Aguilar and so many new pieces, Syracuse got a lot of new pieces too. I fully expect Tennessee to win this football game. Obviously, we both do. We're both picking the balls.
What I agree with Blaine specifically on is don't give Syracuse an opportunity to get hot because he's 100% right. This is going to be a team that embodies its coach's identity. And when you have those type of teams that do a good job of mirroring what the coach wants, you can win any football game. And that is a big selling point, I think, for Fran Brown's future when it comes to Syracuse or any school that wants to hire him. I like the rushing attack. I like what you have with Jonte Cook. If you give Steve Angeli one or two plays to connect 40 yards downfield with the former Texas kid, it could be an interesting game. The thing that I look at, I just trust the rushing attack of Tennessee. They're going back to 2022, 3 running backs for the price of 1. You're not just relying heavily on Dylan Sampson. You get a good option in Star Thomas from the transfer portal. Peyton Lewis to Sean Bishop. Just don't turn the ball over Joey Aguilar, and you're going to win this football game. Now, this is one to where I could easily see it going into the fourth quarter, but I just trust this rushing attack to close things out for Tennessee.
Run game and defense, Bear, 2 things Tennessee should still be able to do well no matter who's at quarterback in 2025. I agree with you. We got both have Tennessee winning this game. Let's go to the big one, Bear. Ohio State and Texas in Columbus. You're going Texas. How dare I go Ohio State? But I am doing it. And Bear, I am praying to God that I am wrong. I would love nothing more than to be wrong. But, and I understand, new quarterback on both sides, but new quarterback for Texas. I know it's Arch Manning. Reworked offensive line, going into the shoe. And Ohio State, in my opinion, Bear, has the best players in this football game on the offensive side and the defensive side, and Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs. It's a coin flip. I genuinely think it goes either way, but I'm going Buckeyes in this one. You're going Longhorns. And Bear, once again, I'm praying that you are right.
Well, you are going to be wrong, and I'm going to be right, and I'm going to get a lot of money for it, and everyone's going to come back and say Cole Thompson, one of the smartest people at SEC Unfiltered. Look, I get it. It is certainly the two best players in the sport potentially reside in Columbus, Ohio. But I just look at the roster in general. This is still a top 10 defense. People want to go ahead and say, well, they lost so much on the defensive line. They also kept Anthony Hill. They also kept Colin Simmons. They also kept Trey Moore, Mookie Tapp, Malik Muhammad. Jalen Gilbo, I think, is going to be a breakout player. You still have Ethan Burke coming off of the edge. You still have a really good interior defensive line that you brought in via the transfer portal. And all I need to see is one or two guys on the offensive side take pressure off of Arch Manning. Maybe it's Jack Andrews and Emmett Mosley. Maybe it's DeAndre Moore and Ryan Wingo. Maybe it's the running back tandem of why am I blanking? CJ Baxter and
Trey Wisner.
Why is that name so hard for me to get out this morning? Either way, as long as you have a second pairing to bring alongside Arch Manning, two dudes offensively, that defense, it's going to be a close game. I think it will come down to the fourth quarter and which quarterback makes the mistake. I think Julian Sain makes the mistake in the fourth.
Why do I feel like, Bear, either Ohio State wins close or Texas blows them out? Why do I feel that way? Why do I feel that?
It's flipped for me, actually. Really? I think either Ohio State blows out Texas.
See, or that Texas would surprise me. I think a blowout may surprise me either way, just because these two teams are so talented. But if one quarterback starts making mistakes, it's, it can snowball.
My big thing comes down to the wide receiver room. Like, I don't know what I'm fully getting in Ryan Wingo. I have faith that he is going to live up to that 5-star expectation. DeAndre Moore, Emmett Mosley. I have faith that they're going to end up meeting the odds. You got a couple of young freshmen that you expect to have some bit of a role. I expect them to meet their goals, but I know what I'm getting in Carnell Tate. That is a quality top 10 wide receiver that is masquerading as the number 2. Like, for years, Ohio State has had a guy that goes for 1,000 yards, and he's the second best player on their team because they got a top 5 pick at the other wide receiver. They got that again with Jeremiah Smith. They brought in Max Clare, who was the second best tight end in college football in the Big Ten last year. He just played for a crappy Purdue roster that went 1-11. They have Brandon Inniss. Like, Brandon Inniss is a lot like a TJ Moore or a Bryant Wesco for Clemson that we're going to talk about in a minute. You throw them on any other roster, they're wide receiver 1. They're the third dude here. So it's like, if for some reason you just get Julian Sain hot, I could see him easily pile driving past Texas defense if you allow him to. That's why I think it's a blowout. I don't think it will, because I think I have too much respect for Texas defense. But there's a lot of things that you look at and just say, Ohio State has it. Like, it's unproven, but they have it.
Yeah, you and I both actually went 24-20, just the inverse of who we had winning. Again, I'm going Buckeyes. You are going Longhorns. Can't wait to be at that one at the Horseshoe in Columbus. Bear, let's go to the game in Lexington, Kentucky. This one's been talked about a lot because a lot of folks, it's a sexy upset pick. Kentucky and Toledo. Bear, let me remind the masses, because I'm going Cats. You are going with the Rockets. Bear, I couldn't go back to the well after last year. I feel like I used my one Toledo card. I cashed my Toledo card last year when I picked them to beat Mississippi State. And that was like my big, bold prediction. And not only they beat them, they killed them. It was a blowout at halftime. But you're going Toledo. Dude, this, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Kentucky's only a 7.5-point favorite in this one. I wanted to, Bear. I just couldn't go back to the well. I couldn't do it.
So I remember last season, we each forced each other to pick a game that we didn't like. And it was because we want to be different. We want to switch things up. I did Arizona State. You did Toledo. We both ended up winning that game. Both non-conference games that ended up helping us out, which is awesome. My thing is, Toledo, if you know anything about the program, is one of the richest G5 programs in the country because of what they have in their athletic complex and what they have with the continuity of the coaching staff. Jason Candle's been there for like a decade, and he constantly is putting his team in 9-10 win campaigns. They're always a favorite in the MAC. They have a veteran quarterback in Tucker Gleason. They have a good wide receiver room with Vandross leading the charge. Defensively, I don't think they're going to drop off that much. Oh, and they also have a running back that Kentucky fans know very well by the name of Chip Trayanum. He was there last season, got hurt, only had like 190 rushing yards. He has apparently been the talk of the town throughout all of Toledo this offseason. He has been exactly what they expected when he came on in from Ohio State. And they're saying that he could end up absolutely meeting the expectations of being the best G5 running back. And it's like, this is kind of a revenge game for him. You went to 2 other dudes last season. You didn't turn to me. I know I was hurt, but I was a good running back. You said, nope, we're moving you down the pecking order. I get to go to Kroger Field. I get to show you what you're missing. I just don't trust Zach Calzada. Like that, like honestly, and that's what this came down to. I've watched the kid play, and I've heard people say, but look at his numbers last season at the FCS level. Look at his numbers when he played at Auburn. Look at his numbers when he played after the Alabama game at Texas A&M. Is that the version I'm getting? Cool. That version can lose to a Toledo team. It can. I'm sorry. Mark Stoops, I wish you nothing but the best. This is not personal. I just want to be right, and I'm going to be.
That one is going to be a sneaky fun one to watch amidst a very, very busy day on Saturday, no doubt. Baylor, let's go to Athens, Georgia. Georgia and the Marshall Thundering Herd. No surprise, you and I both going with the Dogs. I think we're both excited to see Gunnar Stockton under center. Georgia on both lines of scrimmage. They get back to the quote-unquote Georgia standard. I am excited here to see that they dominated this game, right? I think you saw Georgia last year play with their food quite a bit. You know, Kirby's preached all offseason the fire, passion, and energy, right? He wants to see an energetic football team, a hungry football team. I think you will actually get that. But, Bear, I still love Marshall plus 39.5. Georgia's going to win, no question, obviously. But I like the Thundering Herd plus 39.5. Kirby Smart 0-12 in games where he is favored by 38 or more. They don't run the score up. So I think if Marshall even gets on the board at all, they cover. But you and I obviously have the Dogs winning this one, and I don't think it'll be close.
You said 0-12?
0-12.
Yeah, he's going to be 1-12 after this week. I don't get this. Here's the problem. I agree with you. He's not going to run the score up. But this isn't the same Marshall. It's like literally
they could win 42-6 and I cover.
And you cover. But like it's not the same Marshall. Like if this is Tony Gibson's Marshall team, the former NC State defense coordinator. This is not Charles Huff's Marshall team. Charles Huff's Marshall team, I think, would give you a fight. I think that they would have a good identity because of what they return. They know that they weren't going to win this football game, but at least they can make a stance. Like, we are holding our own against one of the top 4 teams in college football. It's a bunch of new. It's a new quarterback. It's a new offensive line. It's like 9 new defensive pieces. It's no returning starters on the offensive line from last season. Like that's where we are. I just don't see them finding any identity against Georgia in this game. So it's going to be 1-12 after this matchup. Because of even if it is the backups, I still think you're going to watch them run up the score. Not because of they want to, but because of what are you supposed to do? Stop at the 2-yard line and then
Georgia,
4 plays?
Bear, does Georgia hit 50 points in this game?
Yes. I'm gonna go like 50. I'm gonna go like 52-6.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You know what I tell you. I think Georgia's going to do. I mean, listen, it'd be kind of foolish not to throw the football around and get Gunnar Stockton some confidence, obviously, and let him work. But I think they're going to go out there and just run the ball and punch them in the face. I think Kirby's just going to be like, we are going to be physical. Like, we're going to set a physical tone from the first snap of this season because we weren't physical enough last year. I don't think he cares who the opponent is. I think Georgia is going to run and run and run and run. And they are going to run it down Marshall's throat all afternoon. So I definitely, but, you know, again, get Gunnar Stockton your work. You got to, but Marshall's going to get bullied, dude. They're going to get bullied all day. So anyways, Dogs, we obviously got the Dogs winning that one at Sanford. Bear, let's go down to Tallahassee, Alabama, Florida State. You and I both say the disrespect will be handled accordingly. We are both going with the Crimson Tide. Bear, I'll let you speak on this, but for me, it's not about is Alabama going to win. It's by how much they're going to win by. But I say that, and we're going to get into this a little bit later in the show, injuries starting to pile up a little bit maybe? Like, is that cause for concern at all for you? I don't see a world. And you mentioned this, Bear. I believe you said a top 10 team has lost in week 1 on the road, every season for the last,
to an ACC unranked school every season since 2021.
I just don't see it though, Bear. I don't see it. I really don't. I mean, listen, I know it's a brand new Florida State team and Tommy Castellanos has got a bunch of I don't see it. Bama's going to win this football game. And you and I obviously both going Crimson Tide. To me, it's just, do they cover 13.5 or not?
I'm getting nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Are you really?
I'm sitting here and just saying.
You're getting nervous, like the reality that we could be in a dogfight in the fourth quarter?
At least in the third, going into halftime. Yes, 100%. It's Gus Malzahn. Right. It's a mobile quarterback. It's more injuries stockpiling on up. The weather, it's going to be tricky that afternoon. It's a road environment. It's at Doak Campbell. It's a new stadium that has been renovated. There's just a lot of things that make you sit there and go, you got to be good. I remember saying, you got to be a point guard. Nah, at this point, I'm going to need to be a little bit more. I'm going to need to see that arm. I'm going to need to see that connectivity. I'm going to need to see what this ground game looks like. Because, again, you talked about Tim Keenan on the defensive side. No Jam Miller on the offensive side. So what are you going to get in the ground game? What is this offensive line going to look like? And, again, I'm a big believer that Florida State's going to bounce back, not in terms of an ACC title, but 8-4 definitely is on the horizon. I think 9-3 if things go according to plan, because I love the hires they made this offseason. They did a good job of fixing 2 areas that needed a renovation, and it's so unknown. What if it all just hits? Again, what if everything that we see, Deuce Robinson is awesome. He lives up to that USC hype. Squirrel White, once again, remember, he beat up on Alabama in 2023 when he went down to Tuscaloosa. He had over 100 receiving yards. What if he does something like that again? You can't bring down Tommy Castellanos on 2nd and long, and then becomes 3rd and short and 3rd down conversions. I think Alabama's going to win this game. I don't worry about that. But I want to here's my thought, Chris Phillips, and you can probably cut this up. My fear is that I am going to be sitting, entering the fourth quarter, with a bottle of Pepto-Bismol by my side, and it is already half drunk, and then I'm going to have to finish the dang thing because of my anxiety and my overall stomach churning is going to lead to a bad night around the bathroom because of what I'm thinking is happening in this game. I can't have that happen. That's my fear. Alabama wins, but it is going to not be a pretty one until the fourth quarter. I will take a giant XL with I think 6 minutes left, knowing that game is locked and secured.
Nah, Tide roll in this one. Tide roll. Minus 13.5, baby. I'm not backing off it. Let's go. Anyways, we both have Bama.
Yeah, we both have Bama. I'm not worried about
Bear.
that.
Yeah, we both got Bama. Bear, let's go to Arkansas, Alabama, A&M. We're both going Hogs. Anything else you want to add to this one? I mean, hey, Bobby Petrino's in the booth. That's kind of interesting.
11 years ago today, Kenny Hill threw for 511 yards and 3 touchdowns and decided to become overnight Kenny Trill.
Kenny Trill.
We're going to hear some stupid nickname for Taylor Green after this game. 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. I think last year was 70-3. It's going to be
it's going to look like Taylor Green's going to look like you're playing EA College Football 25 on freshmen.
Taylor Green is going to look like the quarterback that we envision. Taylor Green's going to look like a national championship Joe Burrow, 2019. Just
you remember their season opener last year? It's going to be the same thing where he's just running around, and we're all salivating, oh my God, this dude is like the next coming.
Chris, I'm going to be completely real. I threw a little, just a smidge, with our friends over at FanDuel money on Taylor Green to win the Heisman Trophy.
Come on, Bear.
I am going to say some very dirty things on Sunday Funday. He is going to have that game where it's I'm going to feel so confident. I'm going to feel like I have just cashed in on the golden ticket, Willy Wonka style. Hey, screw my grandpa Joe. I'm just going to go ahead and leave the family behind. I'm going to go ahead and cash in this goal. He's going to make me feel that way. I just have this gut feeling it's going to be that. I'm going to get hurt again. I'm going to get hurt again.
I doubt they even have him for this game because there's not even a line for this game, obviously, because it's Alabama A&M. But God, if you had some player props for Taylon Green, those would be a lot of fun. I don't know if you can find them. Again, I don't think our friends at FanDuel, they don't even have a spread for this game, so I doubt they drop them, but those would be fun. Bear, let's go to another game that's going to be a blowout. Oklahoma, Illinois State. We are both going a Boomer Sooner. Big storyline, our first look at John Mateer in Norman. Excited to see it.
Illinois State's actually a really good team, like from the FCS level. So I could see this where they at least get on the board early.
Bear, don't tell Oklahoma fans.
But no.
Don't. They've been through enough.
No.
These poor folks they've been through enough. And now we got Bear Thompson telling them, don't sleep on Illinois State.
No.
This one might be close.
No. They're going to get on the board early.
I can imagine Oklahoma fans are like, oh my God. Our nightmare season has begun.
They already hate me because if I said we've gone from them being overrated to underrated to back to being overrated. So like they're already not on my good side right now. Here's the thing. And I said this in the preview. After last season, watching Oklahoma in that season opener, I still felt cautiously optimistic when it came to the offense with Jackson Arnold and Seth Luttrell calling the shots. I want to have no doubt left behind. This is a new offense. It is a potent offense. It is an offense that is going to put belt to ass against everybody in the sport. I think we're going to see that. Like, I think that you will get a score from Illinois State. And then you will watch as Brent Venables says, nope, not again. Go to work. And it's going to be like a 66-7 score. Final.
Yeah.
Speaking of a good day out in Norman.
Speaking of a guy running around like it's EA College Football 25 on freshman, I think John Mateer probably does that as well. And we're all going to be looking at the highlights against Illinois State. Like, see? That's why I bet on him to win the Heisman.
Exactly.
Can't wait. Can't wait for that. Bear, let's go to right down the road here in Nashville. The Vanderbilt Commodores hosting Charleston Southern. You and I both going Vandy here. Again, not a lot of explanation really needed. Doors are going to win this football game. Shout out, by the way, to the folks down in Charleston Southern. I know a couple buddies that went to CSU, the Bucks, but yeah, you're going to get your teeth kicked in. So it is what it is. Diego Pavia is going to have himself a really fun day. No doubt. Bobby Yago.
If they don't beat the spread, I'm going to be worried about this season.
What is it again?
38.5, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Crazy. Like, and I say this with respect, by the way, crazy to see Vandy favored by that much. If I'm being totally honest.
38.5 is the line. The over-under is set at 48. If you don't beat 38.5, I'm going to be a little concerned.
Maybe we should throw a little action on Vandy. Why not?
It's a good bet. I mean, I almost took that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the over-under at 48.5. I did. Like, there's just something that says that defense is going to get too many stops and the offense is going to, like, get 41 points. It'll be like a 41.
Yeah, it's like, well, the question in an over-under like that is, does Charleston Southern score?
Yeah.
That's the question.
But
right?
38.5, you got to beat that. You have to beat that.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I may throw a last-second bet on that. But either way, you and I both have Vandy, no problem. Bear, Florida, and Long Island. I did the preview for this game, Bear, and I essentially said you can summarize this game and how it's going to go. Look at Florida's team picture and look at Long Island's team picture. That kind of says it all. Biggest storyline in this one, Bear. How long does DJ Lagway go? Does he play a quarter? Does he play a half? I don't think he goes beyond a half in this game. Does he play a series, right? I did that state of the program thing with the In All Kinds of Weather folks, Allie Peak, some others. And we had this debate, Bear. And I know you and I already talked about this, but we had the debate. Allie said that she believed he'd play one series. I'm like, God, I mean, I feel like he needs to get some reps, like one series. That doesn't really seem like it's going to do a lot for you. Either way, though, great opportunity for Harrison Bailey to get some game reps because you never know. Fingers crossed you don't, but you might need him at some point this season to come in and play some valuable minutes. But Florida is going to just annihilate Long Island, dude. This has got like 77-3 written all over it.
If this game is close for 1 second, Billy Napier does not have a job on Monday morning.
Well, Bear, technically it will be close for a second when it's 0-0.
Okay. When you break the pylon for the first time and this game is anywhere near close, you do not have a job on Monday morning, Billy Napier. And also, if this game is even remotely talked about, you have more problems than DJ Lagway's injury. You got a lot more problems than that. So, no, this is – I'm not even – credit to you. Like, I had to do the Charleston Southern game. That was a brutal preview. Credit to you for doing the Long Island one.
This is Bear. You know what this is? This is like when we talk about college baseball, and in the midweek you play those smaller, and that's a little bit different, right? Because baseball, anybody can lose to anybody. But you look at the midweek as an opportunity to like pad your stats a little bit before you get to conference play. That's what this game is. Everybody gets to play. You're going to empty the bench. It's good for recruiting. You get to play. The walk-ons will get in late in the game, or second half, and everybody gets to rack up the numbers. Everybody gets to touch the football. Everybody gets to feel good after the game. Yeah, won't even be close. Bear, let's go to this Texas A&M UTSA game. We're both going A&M. I want to give a quick shout-out, though, Bear, to all the UTSA fans that are commenting on the preview that we dropped. How about that? I appreciate you guys. There's more Roadrunner fans commenting on that preview than A&M fans. So I didn't know UTSA rolled deep like that. I didn't know they did. So shout out to y'all. But Texas A&M is going to win this game.
They're a loyal crew, the Alamo City. I have an immense amount of respect for them from living in San Antonio for a while. I love Jeff Traylor's program, so much so that I have them going to the college football playoff. I have them losing one game, and it's this game. They're not going to win this football game.
What do you think about the spread in this one? 24.5. I could see UTSA covering that, to be honest.
I say this with respect. You have to beat the 24.5 if you're Texas A&M. You should
to set a tone. Need to set a tone.
Now, I will push back because I watched the preview. I'm actually not worried about the rushing attack in this game. I'm not. I want to see what this passing attack is going to look like with Marcel Reed. That is the big takeaway I want to have on Sunday Fun Day. We are watching that intermediate part of the field click at the right time. You are seeing the continuity of a Kevin Concepcion and a Mario Craver and a Bethel, and you bring in a Terry Bussey. Your tight end plays really well. I want to hear about that more than I want to hear about the ground game. Because you want to know what? I know what I'm getting in Lavian Moss. I know what I'm getting in this offensive line. Mark Daniels and Ruben Owens will be starting on most schools in the SEC, let alone Texas A&M, on all of college football. Let me see what this passing attack looks like. Because Jeff Traylor, I think, is going to have... Jeff Traylor's a smart coach to where he's going to know I am not going to lose because of Lavian Moss in this rushing attack. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose through the air. He's going to play at that game. And I want to make sure that you see, hey, Marcel Reed won that football game because he was tested.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game for sure. I think it is a tone setter for Texas A&M. You don't want to go out there and mess around. I would agree with you. You want to cover that spread if possible. We're both going A&M. It's just, how does it look? I do agree with you. Marcel Reed, big game for him. A lot of these quarterbacks, obviously, big games for them to get their seasons off on the right foot. But again, we're both going Aggies in College Station, as you would expect. Bear, let's go to what might be the game of the weekend. LSU at Clemson. I'm kind of surprised we're both going LSU here. I thought maybe you'd go the Clemson Tigers because I feel like most out there are going Clemson, but we're both going LSU. I think it's going to be a thriller. I think both quarterbacks play well. I think LSU's got one more punch than Clemson does at the end. I'm not totally sold on Clemson in regards to just like all this hype they're getting, but LSU's got to win a season opener at some point, right? Give me the Bayou Bengals. Again, maybe against my better judgment. I think even after last year, after they lost to USC, Bear, I told myself I'm never picking LSU to win an opener again. And here I am a year later, walking right down the same path. Going to be a thriller. We're both going LSU, though. I think it's interesting. We're both going with LSU.
Do you think that after how much we've heard about Clemson, everyone's picking Clemson, we've gotten to the point of where maybe LSU is a little bit underrated?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah. I mean, listen, LSU has questions. And listen, I talked to our good friend Blake Ruffino, and he's been at 14 of the 20 practices, I think he said. And I won't lie to you. One of the things he said that concerns me is, hey, he feels like and Blake's a guy who knows ball, right? He truly knows the game. He feels like they're still struggling to run the football. And if they're struggling to run the football in this game against this front seven, and they're just going to put it all on Garrett Nussmeier, that does not bode well. No. It's going to look a lot like last year. So there are questions for LSU, no doubt, but I'm going to take them. Brian Kelly's got to win a big game at some point. They need this one bad, Bear. They need this one bad. So I'm going to go with LSU, go in a hostile environment, find a way. But yeah, I do think we're sleeping on them a little bit. I mean, I just can't wait to sit back and watch this one. I'm going to find some bar in Columbus somewhere to post up take this one all in. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's going to be fun.
I just feel like personally, this is the year you're going to have to see Brian Kelly win it. And I'm not saying that you can't see it from Clemson, because Clemson right now is, I think, the more proven team. You know what you're getting on the offensive side. You know that the defense is still going to be one of the best in college football. He upgraded that defense coordinator, in my opinion. Tom Allen is not a slouch of a hire. Yeah, Jim Knowles took his job at Penn State, but he is a still great defensive mind. He's got first-round talent all across the board. But there's two things I look at. Number one, this is not the old mom-and-pop LSU defense of Brian Kelly. It's brand new. And from what we've heard coming out of camp, it's exciting. Mansour Delane in coverage, TJ Pickett, AJ Halsey. You throw into Marcus Cooley, who can do a little bit of everything. You like the pass rush. They're going to get after the quarterback if you allow them to. And I just feel like you're going to watch Garrett Nussmeier make that moment. Make that I'm him moment. You got number 18 for a reason. You embody the spirit and the entity of what LSU football is. Your pathway of winning the starting job, sticking around when you didn't know if you were ever going to get the opportunity, people wanting to see you leave last season, earning the respect of the locker room. And the fact that you've played in every single environment already in college football gives you a slight advantage in ways that most people, I don't think, understand. Going into Death Valley, you win this football game. Though I do think this is going to be one of the wackiest second halves that we will have of all season. Like, this is going to be a scoop and score on a pick six because by Kay Klubnik, followed up by a 98-yard touchdown run by Gideon Davidson, who has like only 6 plays in the game, followed up by like a 78-yard touchdown pass from Garrett Nussmeier to Barian Brown, followed by a fumble recovery, another fumble recovery, a pick six, and then we just get a final field goal. Like, it's going to be that way in the fourth quarter. It's going to be literally chaos out in Clemson.
Both going LSU. Again, I love the over. Bayou Bengals. Make us look smart, please. Bear, the final game, believe it or not, on Saturday night, the nightcap. It's going to get lost in the shuffle, no doubt. But Ole Miss and Georgia State do battle in Oxford. Both of us obviously going Ole Miss. Excited to see Austin Simmons spin that thing all night and a new look defense for the Rebs.
Austin Simmons, do me a favor. Just go out there and make me feel smart. Make me smart for saying that you are going to be the quarterback that we talk about as the next breakout star in the SEC. Make me feel like that I am right for believing that Ole Miss could be the sleeper in the SEC this year. Make me feel confident that it is unlucky to take on the Rebels with number 13 as the starting quarterback. And also, simply put, just win me a little bit of money, because I may have taken some of your prop totals for how good you're going to do in this game. Just a little bit. I like to be rich. I like to feel smart. I think both things can happen when I put my faith in you. You are this year's potentially Brady Cook for me. Who knows? I'm buying a lot of stock in what you're selling down there in Oxford. Go ahead and make me smart.
You did take Rebels on the spread. I don't think it's a bad play at all. I might even sprinkle a little bit of that late, because unlike Kirby in games like this, I think Lane... Yeah, Lane will go out there and score 100 if he can. Finally, Bear, the game on Sunday afternoon, which God bless, we have an SEC game on Sunday afternoon. South Carolina, Virginia Tech in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz. You and I both going with the Gamecocks. The spread in this game at 7.5. Rasul Faison is eligible, thank goodness. Admittedly, Bear, I'm still a little nervous, even with Faison's eligibility, just because I've seen South Carolina in openers, but I fully expect him to win this game. Obviously, you do as well.
I expected him to win by at least a touchdown early before Faison came back. Now I feel like that they're going to win by 15 plus points. I get it. It's new coordinators for Virginia Tech. It's a new identity for this roster. It's a new defense for South Carolina. It's a bunch of new on the offensive side for the Gamecocks, Gamecocks unit. I don't care. I don't. Like, maybe this is me just being a little bit out of left field and panderish. South Carolina fans are good to me. I want to be good to them. And I think that this is going to be a season to remember out in Columbia. And it's largely due to who you have at quarterback. I feel even more confident now that you get back Rasul Faison. I think this is going to be a blowout in the second half.
How much longer does Brent Pry have, Bear?
If he goes 0-2 to start the year with a loss to Vanderbilt, that Florida State game, depending on how Florida State responds, one of those coaches is getting fired after that game. So it's like,
just feels like Vatek has fallen so far from former
Well,
glory.
from what the expectations were after the first 2 years and what he was expected to do last season with how much returning production and how much he had to change this offseason, you're on borrowed time. You can win some of that time. There's two ways I look at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech could be very much a Scott Frost. We should have fired you last year. We didn't fire you. Now we're going to fire you early on in this season and just call it a wash. Or it's going to be like a Neil Brown, Dave Aranda 2.0. We're going into the year. We knew that they were going to be on the hot seat. They found a way to get 8+ wins. Neil Brown got 9 wins for West Virginia. And they end up getting an extra year to figure things out. You're not off the hot seat, but you certainly are going to get some time. That's Virginia Tech this year. You're either going to know within like 4 games. Because remember, they also play Old Dominion. And Old Dominion's a fun team. The Monarchs are a sleepy roster this year in the Sun Belt. You go 0-3, you're fired. Like, there's no shot you can lose to South Carolina in a neutral site field, Vanderbilt at home, and then Old Dominion and say, program's going in the right direction.
Yeah, the fact we're talking about the Hokies potentially losing to Old Dominion, I think, says a lot where they are. Either way, guys, these are our Week 1 picks for the SEC slate. We'd love to hear from you. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Whose picks did better, or whose picks will do better? Myself or Bear Thompson? We're going to be tracking our records all throughout the season. Bear and I with a little bit of head-to-head. Who's the real ball knower at SEC Unfiltered?
Hold on.
That is the question.
2, 3, 4. We have 4 different games this year.
Yeah. And they will get much different, obviously, as we get into conference play. And some of these non-conference ones, obviously, we are going to agree with. So,
if you could make one switch right now, who would it be?
One switch right now. There's 2 that I'm looking at, but I'm going to pick one. If I could make one switch right now, I'd go Texas. That's probably the one I'm least sure of. I'm less sure of Texas, Ohio State than I am Baylor, Auburn. I just think Auburn's got the better roster. Like, I don't trust Auburn necessarily, but they're the better team. I feel like Ohio State, I'm kind of taking a flyer with that one a little bit.
See, Auburn was the one I was thinking of. I have too much faith in Sawyer Robertson. I switched to Clemson.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I switched to Clemson.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I get that.
It's at home. And again, if I'm just looking at straight work, because I'm taking your opinion on this, like when it comes to Baylor, Auburn, who's got the better roster? On paper, it is Clemson. I have more faith that this is a must win for Brian Kelly, so he's going to get the job done. But on paper, the better roster is Clemson. I mean, they got first round talent everywhere across the board, and we didn't even talk about them. The wide receiver room again. This is circa old school Clemson. What they have right now. That's just another thing.
Yeah, with Wesco and Williams and they're deep. They're deep. That's going to be a fun one. Anyways, guys, we'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts on this? Agree or disagree? Who did better on their picks? Every single week, Pick'em Show on Thursday. Cannot wait for that. Once again, drop it in the comments below. Who you are picking in Week 1. Bear, that being said, let's keep it going. We got a couple of things I want to discuss here really quickly, some news and notes to get into as we close out the show. But first, Bear, I want to do something, and I'll be pretty brief with this, but something I have not done to this point, and shame on me for doing so. That is lock in my pick to win the Heisman Trophy. Obviously, you are going with Lenora Sellers. Great pick. I think Lenora Sellers is going to be a dynamic playmaker all throughout the season. If he can push South Carolina to 9-3 or better, certainly getting in the college football playoff, he would be a massive reason why. I think he would have. I think he probably gets invited to New York if they go 9-3 or better. He's at minimum getting invited.
Yeah.
But Bear, I want to take you down to a little town. Little town in the SEC.
All right.
Where they sip on yellow hammers every Saturday afternoon.
Don't do it.
And they sing Dixieland Delight. And the sounds of Roll Tide, roll. Bear, I don't know if it's the yellow hammers or the Kool-Aid, and they might start calling me a gump after this, but damn it, this morning I woke up and I placed a bet on the young king, Ty Simpson, at plus 1,800 to be the next great Alabama quarterback to roll through T-Town and win the Heisman Trophy. Plus 1,800. Plus 1,800. He's going to ball in Ryan Grubb's system. Kalen DeBoer, they're going to lead him the right way. He's got playmakers all around him. It's going to start this weekend in Tallahassee. My bet has been placed over at FanDuel. Plus 1,800. Give me Ty Simpson to win the Heisman Trophy. I'm going all in on Brett Bear. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's you. I don't know if it's Dave. I don't know if it's our buddy Cruz. I don't know if it's my buddies I've met here in Nashville that are also Bama alums. I feel like I'm surrounded by you all, you Bama folks. I don't know if it's rubbing off on me, but damn it, it's working. So I'm going with Ty Simpson. Heisman Trophy. That's a little bit of a flyer. He's not one of the favorites, obviously. He's right there with Lenore Sellers. I think Ty Simpson, all the weapons around him, passing game is going to be one of the best in the country. Bama's going to the SEC title. They're winning the SEC title. And for the quality team he's on and the quality of play that I think he's going to lead, I'm going to go Ty Simpson.
Alabama, congratulations. You just lost the national title. So glad that this happened. This is what you had to do to us, man. This is what had to happen. Go win the Heisman Trophy. The individual award comes to you. So you're going to win everything because you have Texas winning the national title. So you win this bet. You're going to win that bet. I need Lenore Sellers to go solo on Superman. I need him to. Simply for my bet of Alabama winning the national title to hit. This is nothing against when it comes to Ty Simpson. Good pick. Very solid pick. You're not wrong with the offensive personnel around him. But selfishly, because if I know if he wins the Heisman, Alabama's not winning the title, and I took Alabama with their friends over at FanDuel to win the national title, selfishly, I hope he comes up short. I hope he has a dreadful SEC championship game. They win by a field goal, and Lenore Sellers does enough to go ahead and punch his ticket to the Big Apple.
Fair enough. Either way, you got Sellers, I got Simpson. Going to be a lot of fun. Neither one of us taking the favorite that is Arch Manning. By the way, did you know this fun fact, Bear? The favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, like the betting favorite, because I don't think Travis Hunter was the betting favorite last year, if I recall correctly. I don't think he was the favorite to win it. The betting favorite has not won the Heisman Trophy since Matt Leinart did it in 2004.
Really?
That was the last time the favorite, odds-on favorite, won the Heisman Trophy. Yes.
Well, all right then.
How about that? So Arch Manning's, sorry, Arch Manning. It's not you.
But he wasn't going to win it anyways this year. Like, and I mean,
I agree. But like, he's the betting favorite. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
I mean this with respect. Arch, you're a good player. I'm excited to see what your future looks like. But you weren't going to win the award. You just weren't this year.
Does he win a Heisman before he leaves Texas?
If he stays for another year, which I think he should, and I think he will, yes. I think next year he will win the Heisman.
I tend to agree with that. Yeah. He's going to have a good year, too. There's a lot of good players in college football. Who wants to bet on the favorite?
Also, let's just think about this for a second. And this is why sometimes I also bring it up, the conversation of the Ty Simpson pick. Simpson may end up having the best numbers in the SEC, but is he the best player? Because how many times have we watched where somebody puts up better numbers, but they aren't viewed as the best player, therefore they don't win the award? Where Sellers may end up putting up incredible numbers and being such a major contributor and the X factor to his team, he ends up taking home the hardware. Or it's Cade Klubnik, or it's Garrett Nussmeier, or it's somebody else that we have yet to mention on the show that just puts up good enough numbers, but that X factor mentality takes on over. Arch again this year, I think is going to be a very solid quarterback. I don't even think he's going to be the top 3 quarterback in terms of numbers for Texas in 2025.
Fair enough. Like I said, you got Sellers, I got Simpson. Game on as the season gets going. Bear, last thing before we wrap up, we kind of already touched on this with our pick'em stuff, but the big news and note this week, I would say, defensive lineman Tim Keenan, speaking of Alabama, Bama's Tim Keenan out multiple games. They are expecting, from those that we have talked to get him back for the Georgia game. Kind of same timeline as a Jam Miller. He is having tightrope surgery. By the way, Bear, you might recall, this is a surgery that Tua Tagovailoa came back 2 weeks later from. But granted, he's a quarterback, and you need him every game, and I think it'd be crazy to rush Tim Keenan back like that when you've got depth on the defensive line. I'll just ask you, Bear. I mean, the good news is this. Yes, Florida State's a game you obviously shouldn't overlook. You have Wisconsin in non-conference, but outside of that, the first couple games of your schedule are pretty manageable before you get to Georgia. But are injuries becoming a concern for you at all for the Crimson Tide?
Enough to where if you aren't back by the Georgia game, I'm going to have my concerns on winning that matchup, but not enough to where I think that Wisconsin, Florida State, or any other matchups in jeopardy. And you also have the bye week to get prepared. So in that standpoint, I think it's a good thing. Here's the other thing that I think is really good. You look at the depth of those positions. It's a lot of unknown, but that also is a good thing because you get to figure out what is this unit going into the year. You look behind Tim Keenan. Right now, they got a redshirt freshman in Jeremiah Beeman, probably going to see a majority of the reps. If not him, Edric Hill. He's a redshirt sophomore. You got guys like Steve Bolamanumba, and you got Isaiah Fuaga, and you got London Simmons as guys who are also playing that defensive tackle spot. He's a nose tackle, so again, it's a little bit of a different feel. So maybe the defensive line is going to have to make a couple of shifts and adjustments for how you want to play in Kane Womack's system. But you get to check it out and figure, hey, this is where we feel really good against the run. Maybe we got to stockpile up some linebacker play when we know that it's a third down and a got-to-have moment. Those are things that you can take into advantage. And then on the offensive side, we mentioned Jay Miller. We get to see what Richard Young and Daniel Hill are as a combination. We get to see if A.K. Deere gets involved in the game. Excuse me, Dre Washington
Bless
as well
you, sir.
as another option out of the backfield. It's like a scat back type formation. We get to see, are we an offense that can utilize multiple different facets to our rushing attack, or is it got to be Jam Miller? We know this identity is going to work. So it's like you're concerned because of you just don't want to feel like you're an injured prone team going into the year. You're not concerned in the sense of this is going to lead to us losing football games to Wisconsin and Florida State, or even for that matter, you get back a Jam Miller and a Tim Keenan for the Georgia game. It doesn't mean you're going to win that game. It also doesn't mean you're going to lose that game. You feel like that, even if they're not at 100%, you're still trending upward. The last thing you can afford to do right now is get another injury before you get actually on the field out in Tallahassee. And then you suffer another injury on the field in Tallahassee. And now it's like 5 dudes who are going to be out until the start of conference play, to where, yeah, you still feel good about the depth, but they need to get those reps underneath them before they take on Georgia at Stanford.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I mean, you never want to see guys go down. Tim Keenan, especially a leader on that defense, a leader on that defensive front. But I don't think it's reason to panic. Heal him up. Get him ready for that Georgia game. I don't think you're going to need him to beat Florida State or Wisconsin, like you said. But certainly, like you mentioned, Bear, you don't want this thing to snowball, more guys getting injured. Last thing you want to see. So I'm sure they're taking care of it. I'm sure they're being extra cautious with this as well. Smart of them to do. I don't think it's a reason to panic, but certainly something to keep an eye on. Bear, that being said, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
I got one final thought before we get on.
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
I am never going to tell you to root for anybody in the SEC other than your school. Because even though that we are the SEC Unfiltered channel and our job is to talk about teams specifically, I'm never going to tell you to go pull for your enemies. That'd be wrong. In fact, that'd be disingenuous and then we would be disrespectful. However, if you were going to make fun of a loss from one of the major schools, if Alabama somehow drops the game to Florida State, LSU drops the game to Clemson, Ohio State beats up on Texas, before you go ahead and make fun of them, you better check your score. If that thing was remotely close against a underwhelming G5 opponent, you sit down and you shut up. Because if you should have dominance this weekend, you should put bell to ass and you should make everybody else feel inferior compared to you. You should feel like that you're on cloud 9 and you're walking your way to Atlanta. If that game comes down to a field goal in College Station, that game comes down to a gotta-have touchdown in Lexington, if Southern Miss somehow in Hattiesburg, Mississippi takes you to the brink of elimination, I don't care if you won that football game. You are not allowed to run your mouth about what happened in Death Valley, what happened in Columbus, Ohio, what happened in Tallahassee. You are sure as hell not allowed to say anything negative about those teams for scheduling those matchups and putting themselves on national television for embarrassment. So you better just remember, before you throw that stone, what was your final score? Because if it was even close in a non-competitive matchup, boy, oh boy, you do not have a seat at the big boy table.
Do not throw stones from a glass house, no doubt. And Bear, like you mentioned, quick reminder, as we all know, huge weekend for the conference. Massive weekend. What is it? 5 SEC, ACC matchups? Or 4? Tennessee, Syracuse, South Carolina, Tech.
Yeah. It's 5 Power 5 5 Power 4 matchups.
That's right. Yeah, huge. I mean, SEC Big 12, SEC Big 10, SEC ACC. It's big. It's big for the conference. Listen, you can, like you said, Bear, don't pull for your rivals, but for those conversations, it is a big weekend, no doubt. A lot on the line for sure. And again, guys, the good news is this. Week 1 is here. Darn it, week 1 is here. Let's all enjoy it together. All getting going tonight. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Truly, like I said, every Thursday, this is what you can expect from us. Our week by week pick'em shows. They're going to be a lot of fun, Bear. I'm so excited. This is truly what I love. Like, I love picking games, predicting games, previewing games, doing it all with you. Thursdays are going to be an absolute blast, and I think really a good way to get us rocking and rolling and get us geared up and get us really primed for the weekend, going through all these games, locking in our picks. Truly is a ton of fun. And again, we want to hear from you guys. Drop your comments. Let us know your picks, where we're right, where we're wrong, who you're going with this weekend. Guys, when we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season's almost here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app and get started. Again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get yourself in the game today. Once again, Bear, great stuff. I greatly appreciate you, and we greatly appreciate all of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Enjoy week 1. Stay tuned for all the content. We'll talk to you all this weekend. Saturday, don't forget, Saturday reaction shows. Actually, let me go backwards, Bear. Friday, SEC Unfiltered kickoff show. The first of every single Friday this college football season. Our good friend Biggie over at Cook the Book joined me for a great conversation. Y'all check that out. Saturday, Cole the Bear Thompson reacting to all of the biggest games and all of the action on Saturday afternoon and night. And then on Sunday, number 1, we got more SEC football. Number 2, Sunday Fun Day. The Overtime Drive will be back. We'll be recapping and reacting to everything that was in week 1.
By the way, before we leave, just remember, happy hour tomorrow night. Instagram.
Happy hour tomorrow night. Instagram.
Media,
yes.
At SEC Unfiltered. Your boy going to be holding it down for 30 minutes. 7 o'clock. Make sure that you're locked in.
Yeah, make sure you're following along everywhere. Once again, guys, content bleeding out of the eyeballs. You already know the drill. Again, he's Bear. I'm Chris. Thank you all so much. Enjoy week 1. We made it, folks. We'll talk to you soon on the other side. Cheers.